Hello and welcome to another episode of Excellent Sports Talk. I am your host, Mark Bradley, and I appreciate everybody who came to the show each and every week like you guys always do. I'm glad you're here another week. And of course, as each and every week, we do have some excellent topics for you. And so we are going to go ahead and get into those. So first, we want to go ahead and just give you the lineup for today's show. So first, we are going to start off with National Signing Day. Everybody knows National Signing Day is the chance where high school recruits are able to tell the world what college they're going to play for their collegiate careers. So this is a big time for a lot of colleges who are trying to get better and who are trying to really make a name for themselves. This is kind of the chance of them to start their beginning process for the next season. So we're going to go ahead and discuss that. And then we also are going to talk about the NBA season, which will be starting next week. We're going to go ahead and talk about our first two games of the season. We're going to go ahead and give our predictions on that, as well as we're going to talk about the NCAA and its conference championship week. So we want to go ahead and basically talk about that and just really go forth with that, especially when it's coming down to the last couple of weeks trying to make that playoff push. This is a real big chance for them to make a statement for whoever's in their respected bowl conferences. And then we are going to also end the show with the NFL week 14 and 15, and it's really coming down to the wire for a lot of these teams trying to make it into the playoffs, as well as people who is fighting for position in wild card and also for the number one seed. So we're going to go ahead and discuss that. And like I said, if you guys want to interact with the stream, by all means, please put a question or comment down. We can go ahead and discuss that about your favorite team or just anything that you want to go ahead and speak upon. We can definitely do that. So let's go ahead and start on our first topic, and that is the National Signing Day. So National Signing Day was Tuesday, actually, and it was unlike any other National Signing Day that we had before, because of course, with the pandemic, things are a lot different. So here's some of the things that was kind of different, because recruiters kind of had to find a new way to sway the high school recruits to come to their school. Because this year the high school recruits were not able to go to the colleges and take their college campus visits, which is a big thing, because there's a lot of things that go into these players' minds, especially making the decision, and you really can't see that until you go to the school. And it hurts for a lot of players who wanted to play out of state, maybe because they couldn't go to that campus and really get the full detailed version look of the school. And like I said, this plays a big part, because we have to think about other things that that doesn't rely on football, because it comes down to a lot of training facilities and education, and as well as other places, just the campus, the surroundings as a whole. You really have to really be there to know what the atmosphere is like of that school, because a lot of times these players go to these college campuses and they feel such a great atmosphere to the point where they change their decision right then and there. You can tell a high school recruit's like, okay, I'm going to go to, let's say I'm going to go to LSU, right? You go to LSU, you go there, you're like, okay, I want to go to LSU. I'm going to make a commitment to go to LSU. But then you go to different campuses and see the atmosphere, maybe like at Alabama, and they're like, oh wow, Alabama was such a great time. I love the campus, I love the facilities. I'm not going to LSU anymore. I'm going to Alabama. Happens all the time. So it's different this year. They couldn't go to the colleges' campuses. They couldn't go to the homes of a lot of these recruits. There's a lot of Zoom meetings going on this year. So that could hurt like a lot of teams who's trying to get these big time recruits to come and play out of state, but they can't because they don't know what to expect going into that campus unless they're like set in stone. This is the team I'm playing for. This is it. Don't tell me nothing. This is what I want. So it could be different. It could be a lot different, but all in all, it was still a great National Signing Day. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the biggest winners of the day. And so let's start off with the number one recruiting class of 2020, and that's Alabama. And that's no secret because Alabama is a powerhouse. Alabama's always going to compete for championships. They're always going to have TV time, so these players can get a lot of exposure if they're going to go ahead and pursue a NFL career. Alabama's always on national television, so of course they want some TV time, and Alabama's going to give them that. So Alabama comes in at number one. They managed to snag 6 5-star recruits, which is always what your goal is as far as trying to recruit players. You always want to go for the top talent. They did that. And also a lot of 4-star recruits. They was able to go ahead and get a lot of 4-star recruits as well. So 14, as a matter of fact. So they was able to go ahead and snag a lot of top talent there in Alabama, which is never a surprise. Alabama is going to have a top 5 recruiting class each and every year because this just their name carries weight as it is in college football. So coming in at number 2 was Ohio State, and that's not a surprise to anybody either. Ohio State's another top school in the NCAA. It managed to grab 5 5-star recruits and 13 4-star recruits. So just like Alabama, it's another school that's not surprising. Ohio State always finds talent and rebuilds each and every year with the talent they already have to make a deep push for the national championship like they do each and every year. And this is no different. Coming in at number 3 is Georgia. Georgia's another strong school in recruiting, especially, getting a lot of players out of that state, which is a great football state. It managed to receive 4 5-star recruits and 11 4-star recruits, which is very, very good for them. And so moving on to number 4 is LSU. LSU has a big down year this year. Really not as good as they were expected to be, especially coming off a national championship game. But I think everybody kind of knew this was going to happen because when you lose Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson, who's are 2 top players last year in the NCAA, of course you're going to go ahead and lose, a lot of recruits. When you lose those guys, it's tough to really, rebuild off of that. But look, this is a step in the right direction as far as them managing to receive two 5-star recruits. Now I know it's not a lot for them for as far as 5-star recruits, but it makes up with 15 4-star recruits. So that's pretty much balanced everything out. So this can hopefully be the start of a good rebuild for LSU so they can get back into their winning ways like they did last year and winning the national championship. And coming in rounding off the top 5 is Clemson. And of course, Clemson is another school who has a big name, who's going to be who's going to have a very big rebuild, because when you lose Trevor Lawrence, the top quarterback since his freshman year, it's going to be hard to really see who's going to fill his shoes. And I think their backup DJ Uiagalelei, Yeah, I butchered that. Anyway, so when you have a good backup like him coming from California, I followed him closely, being from California. So yeah, I butchered his name, but yeah, when he comes in and he's already got playing time. Yeah, he's a bad man. He is a bad man. When he had playing time with Trevor Lawrence having COVID-19, when he comes in, he played great against Boston College, played great against Notre Dame. He's definitely the next man up. So I don't see Clemson having too much far of a drop off with Trevor Lawrence going into the draft this year and being the number one pick. So it's not going to be any surprise. And then so we got the rest of the schools with Oregon coming in at number 6 as far as national signing day. Texas A&M coming in at number 7. Oklahoma coming in at number 8. Another SEC school, Florida, coming in at number 9, and number 10 is Notre Dame. It's really interesting to see how the rest of these schools are going to play out as far as recruits. I mean, basically, we've seen a big overhaul of SEC schools. Seen them play on the next for special QB1. Yeah. I seen him play too. And when he's from California, of course, I'm from California. You kind of see him on TV a lot, so you kind of see him. And there was another quarterback who's in Alabama right now named Bryce Young, who's going to take over probably in the next couple of years. Him and Bryce Young was like the top 2 quarterbacks in California. And to be honest with you, I thought Bryce Young was a little bit better than DJ, but DJ was definitely one of those guys you want on your team. But yeah, those two dudes are going to be nice next year, in the next couple of years, actually, until they decide to go and play pro ball. But yeah, Clemson, look, SEC always dominates these national signing days. Let's just be 100% honest. They do this all the time. A lot of these top talented high school players are usually in the South. The Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, those type areas. So they really don't leave out of that area. So the SEC always just have that luxury of having those great players in their own backyard. And then when you kind of move over to like the West Coast, where it's another powerhouse, California, for high school talent, they usually find a way to scatter everywhere. They find a way to scatter. Like a lot of players from California go to Oregon. A lot of players, from California goes to either Washington State, Arizona State, USC, UCLA. It's a lot of schools to choose from out here in the West Coast. So it's kind of hard for them to really keep them in that one area of California. And they travel well. California players travel well. West Coast players in general travels well. Nevada, Utah, Colorado players, Washington players, they all travel well, and they go to different schools in different states. It is what it is. It's no shocker. It's just how it goes, right? So that's basically kind of how National Signing Day works. Of course, it was different, and also you have to think about how a lot of people did not play high school football this year. They're not going to play until maybe starting January, late January, early February is when a lot of West Coast schools like California, who has a lot of talent. I know Utah played their season out already. Maybe Arizona, places that didn't have fall football is going to play in the spring. And that's going to be different. That's going to be very different, which is they're going to play their season out, and then do they go straight to college after the season? I don't exactly know how it works, but that's something you really have to think about as far as college recruits. And God forbid we don't want the high school players to get hurt, but sometimes it does happen that way. And do they just not give them scholarships if they do get hurt? Because that happens so often. So it's a lot of things you really have to think about, especially with a lot of these players who's going to play in the spring and then go straight to college. I don't know if they're going to be eligible right off the bat. Maybe they can practice or just, lift weights and get better. But I don't know if they can play right off the jump because, once the season's over in spring, they're getting ready for the NCAA football season in fall, and it's just a lot of confusion going on. So that's really something to think about, and we're going. And yeah, it's a very different year as far as sports wise. So it's a lot of different things going on. You really have to think about all these different things that they're having this year. So that's basically going to go ahead and end that segment. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, like my man Real right here, we just discussed this. By all means, please put it in the comment section and we can interact. And if your favorite college team did a great job of recruiting, let me know. If they did a bad job recruiting, let me know, and we will talk about it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, and that is the NCAA football season. Or not the NCAA football season, excuse me, the NBA basketball season. So we excuse me if you see a little mess up there. It's all right. I'm back. I'm right here. I ain't go nowhere. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the NBA season. The NBA season, like I said last week, starting December 22nd. And it's good to see preseason games going on so players can get back into the swing of things, because a lot of these non-playoff teams that didn't have the chance to really play in the NBA bubble, they haven't played in so long. So it's good for them to get back into into basketball mindset mode. And for the players who were in the NBA bubble and who played deep into the playoffs, they didn't have as much time as they did as players who didn't make the playoffs. So they're getting right back into it. So they're probably already still in basketball shape. For like the players on the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets, the Clippers, they've been playing for a minute. And they just had to turn around in less than 2 months. Or not even less than 2 months, more than 2 months, and just really get right back into it, which is pretty crazy to really think about. But they agreed upon this, so it's not like they wasn't aware of what's going to happen. So they're going back into it. So it's good to see the preseason going on. It's kind of weird to see a lot of the players, or not the players. Well, let's say the players playing without fans, because it looks just so awkward. Like it looks dead. It just looks like it's not right. It looks weird. Like I'm so used to watching, fans in the game. This looks very different. But I mean, this is what expected. This is what expected. And there are going to be fans in some games. I think only 3 or 4 teams are going to have actual fans in the stadium. I think New Orleans is one of them. I gotta see what it is. But I know some teams are going to have fans in their stadium, and of course, it's not going to be a full packed house, but they're going to have the luxury of watching them play. And I know that's going to be exciting for some people, especially this year. It's been a crazy year. It can bring some joy to them for the end of the year. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very exciting to see some of the fans in the stadium. So let's go ahead and basically give our first predictions for the first couple of games in the NBA. It's only going to be 2 games in the first day of the the NBA season. And so let's go ahead and basically talk about that. So let's go ahead and start off with our first game of the a new season, and that is the Golden State Warriors traveling to Brooklyn to face the Nets. And so this is a it's going to be a fun game. Steph Curry is back. He's going to play exciting basketball. He's always exciting to watch. And then we're also going to see the return of Kevin Durant coming back from his injury, his Achilles injury last year, while he was playing with the Warriors in the NBA Finals against the Toronto Raptors. Actually, that was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. Yo, Zach, what's going on? I appreciate you coming to the show, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. So it's going to be the Golden State Warriors is coming in. It's going to be a fun game. Steph Curry, KD's coming back from his Achilles injury. It's going to be a fun game. And these are two it's going to be a fun game. Like let's think about this, okay? So Kevin Durant knows the Warriors system. He played for the Warriors, won 2 rings with them. He knows how they operate there in Golden State. And so, and also Steve Nash. Steve Nash was the assistant with the Golden State Warriors while Kevin Durant was there, while Stephen Curry was there. So they know that system very well. So it's not going to be a surprise to Kevin Durant or Steve Nash when they play a game that's like, oh, I've seen this before. When we was there at Golden State, we know how Steph Curry operates. We know how the team is going to work. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they know the situations of what's going on. It's going to be hard for maybe the Warriors to score. Now, look, it's going to be a very different team for the Warriors. Unfortunately, Klay Thompson is out for another season, which really stinks because I think everybody was excited to see what he was going to do this season. But when you bring back Stephen Curry, who was hurt majority of the season with a broken hand, and you bring in a talented piece like James Wiseman, who's going to be in the middle of who's going to be an anchor for that defense, it's going to be fun to watch the Golden State Warriors out there in San Francisco to really do what they do. And so look, to be honest with you, I have to get this game to the Brooklyn Nets. It depends on how far Kevin Durant takes them and Kyrie Irving. Because look, Steve Nash is a rookie coach. This is his first game in the NBA. We're going to see how he's going to handle that situation. Excuse me. And so if they do well, if Kevin Durant looks like his old self, he's playing comfortable, he's not worried about his Achilles at all, and we worried about and Kyrie Irving does what he do like he does each and every year, it's going to be hard for me not to see the Warriors coming out with the Nets winning this game. And the Warriors have to travel across country to play this game as well. I think the Warriors it's going to be a tough run for the Warriors, I think, this game. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Nets game the first game here. It's going to be a fun night. Tonight is not the first. Tonight's not the first game tonight. It's on the December 22nd. That's the first official game of the new NBA season, December 22nd. So next week, I think next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, next Tuesday is going to be the start of the. Yeah, I'm right. Next Tuesday is going to be the start of the first games. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into the last game of the NBA season. And that's the Los Angeles Lakers and the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, we all know this is the division rival. It's always a big game in LA because it split the city basically, because there's a lot of Lakers fans, a lot of Clippers fans. They really don't like each other. And we always talk about who's the best team in LA. And of course, it has to be the Lakers because they won the championship, of course. So, and they just rebuilt their whole roster. And basically, on paper, on paper, they look a lot better than what they started with last year. It was a lot of questions last year, but this year you bring in the sixth man of the year and the runner up to sixth man of the year. You bring in Marcus Gasol, who looks really good in preseason. Looks like a great pickup for the Lakers. He's going to space the floor very well for LeBron James and Anthony Davis to do whatever they want because he can stretch the floor. And he's not the best three-point shooter, but he can shoot it. But which is a big difference between Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee last year, because both of those guys couldn't shoot the ball. But you bring in Marcus Gasol, who can shoot the ball a little bit. He's going to stretch the floor. It's going to leave a lot of room for Anthony Davis and LeBron James to get into those lanes. It's not going to clog anything at all. It's going to be a lot of spacing going on. And then you bring the Clippers, who basically brings in the same team as they did last year. Other than the addition of Serge Ibaka, who is going to start for the Los Angeles Clippers, which is usually what's been Ivica Zubac's position, but now he's going to come off the bench. But this is basically the same team. It's going to be basically the same starting five, other than I think Nick Batum is going to be a starter. I'm not 100% sure. Are they going to put Marcus Morris? If you pay him that much, you definitely got to start him, right? So it's basically the same team. We're going to see how they're going to play. I don't know how. Look, don't get me wrong. The Clippers going to be a top 4 team in the NBA, in the NBA Western Conference, but I don't know if they're going to be built for the playoffs because this is basically the same team as last year and the same coaching staff. Like Tyronn Lue was basically a Doc Rivers 2.0. Like it's the same people. But look, it's going to be a tough game. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a strong game. It's going to be a fun game for the Lakers and Clippers when they play each other. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Lakers the win. I think this is going to be a strong game for both Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Those two are hard to stop. And if they can outplay the Clippers, and I think the Lakers bench is a little bit deeper than they were last year. So because Taylor Horton-Tucker looks like a preseason legend right now, he's going to get his minutes. Kyle Kuzma's been playing pretty well in the preseason. You bring Dennis Schroeder, who wants to play, but I think he's going to come off the bench, to be honest with you. You already have Markieff Morris, who was a strong player. Alex Caruso, I don't know if he's going to play in the first game, but Alex Caruso was a big defensive presence in last year in the finals. So I think the Lakers bench is going to be deeper than the Clippers this year because the Clippers bench was so deep last year. You bring in Montrezl Harrell off when he was playing for the Clippers off the bench, bringing you 18 points a game. Lou Williams, who's a strong player, off the bench, and then Lou Williams basically doesn't even want to be in LA, but he's going to play. He's going to play, and also no more Montrezl Harrell. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. So it's going to be tough for the Clippers to find scores off the bench. Nick Batum it might be a good piece, but he's not in his prime anymore, so it's going to be different. And Reggie Jackson maybe finds some way to score. I don't know, but I have to give this to the Lakers. I'm gonna go ahead and give this to the Lakers. So that's our predictions. So I have the Knicks over the Warriors and the Lakers over the Clippers. So so we're gonna look forward to the next we'll look forward for Tuesday, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be very fun. So let's go ahead and briefly talk about the NCAA championship week that is happening. It's actually started today. Today is going to be the first games of championship week. Yeah, the Lakers going to be tough this season, man. You never lie, man. The Lakers look like a dominant team. They're definitely the favorites, man. And I don't see anybody at all beating the Lakers unless they have to give them their all each and every day. For speaking of the Lakers, because they're going to get the team's best each and every game because they want to beat the Lakers. You got to beat the best teams if you want to win a ring. So they're going to be so the Lakers going to have to fight and claw each and every game. So it's going to be tough. So yeah, like I was saying, the NCAA is having the start of the championship week this week, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting times because this is where the best play the best. It's no more easy games from here on out. It's the best teams playing the best teams. So today is the start. USC is going to play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. And this is going to be a big game for USC in general because they are undefeated right now going into this game. And if they can go ahead and win this game, they can go ahead and move up into the top 10 for the college football rankings and maybe get into the New Year's Six bowl game, which everybody looks forward to when you're a top player in the conference. Now, I don't see USC going ahead and getting to the top 4 by any stretch of the imagination, but they can go ahead and play maybe the Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowl, any one of those players, because I think the Rose Bowl and I cannot remember the other bowl game that's for the college football championship, but they can go and play in the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, something like that, and play another tough school. So USC has a big game ahead of them tonight at 5:00 p.m. 5:00 for the West Coast people, 8:00 if you're on the East Coast, and I think 7:00 for Central and 6:00 if you're in Arizona, because they do their own thing. But anyway, so yeah, it's a big game for USC. They can get into the top 10, and they can look forward to the future because they're bringing back their quarterback. They had a strong recruiting class. I think they was 12th or 13th. So they're bringing in some good talented players coming in for next year. And so this could lead a lot of confidence going into the next season. And so we're also going to look at some other games that is also happening as far as championship games. We're looking at Ohio State, who made it to the Big Ten conference title against Northwestern, who's not going to be any pushovers by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to fight. They're going to fight for this for this championship game. So Ohio State has a tough game ahead of them, and they have to win this game. They have to win this game. If they win this game, they're going to be in the the NCAA college playoff, the playoff game. So this is it. They control their own destiny. They're going to be right in the thick of things. And so also we're going to look at Oklahoma and Iowa State, who is one of the two teams on the outside looking in. They are currently 6 right now, and they have to win this game. If they win this game and someone like Ohio State maybe loses, then you never know. They can go ahead and sneak in. Okay, the Sugar Bowl is so the Sugar Bowl is the other college football bowl game this year. So thanks for that. So the Sugar Bowl. So like I said, if USC win, they can go in the Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowl. So it's going to be they have their chance. They have their chance. So like I said, Iowa State, Oklahoma. You never know with Iowa State. If they beat Oklahoma, if they have to beat them bad. I think they have to beat them by at least 3 touchdowns if they want to be considered a college football playoff team. So Iowa State has to win big. Oklahoma is no pushovers at all. So this is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game for Iowa State, but they have to win this game. They have to. And so also we're going to go ahead and look forward to I think this is the biggest game going into Saturday, which is the rematch between Clemson and Notre Dame. And like I said last week, if Clemson and Notre Dame finds a way to have a rematch, I think Clemson is going to be a tough team. Don't get me wrong, Notre Dame is a strong team. It's a strong team. They're undefeated for a reason. But look, they didn't play Trevor Lawrence in the last game. And so now that Trevor Lawrence is back, he's going to run his revenge. I think it's going to be hard for Notre Dame to win this game. I just do, to be honest with you. And look, whoever wins this game, I don't think they're going to get out of the top 4 at it. I just don't think this is going to be enough for any of these two teams to drop out of the top 4. The only real reason I can see any of these teams not being in the top 4 is the Alabama and Florida game, and I'll get to that. But this is going to be a big game for both of these teams. I think Clemson is going to have a chance to jump into the top 2 if they win this game. Well, they definitely will be in the top 2 if they win this game. And I don't think Notre Dame is going to drop out of 4. I don't know. This is tricky, guys, because Ohio State is there. But if Ohio State loses, they're definitely going to be out of the top 4. And Notre Dame could squeeze into that number 4 spot, right? But okay, so let's talk about this. Alabama and Florida plays each other in the SEC championship game. So Florida is number 7. They lost last week. They didn't drop too far. They went from 6 to 7, which is pretty crazy because usually that doesn't happen. But I guess when you're in the SEC, you get a little bit special treatment. But you can hear that from me. But anyway, I don't know how they operate, but you get a little special treatment. But anyway, so look, they didn't drop too far. So let's think of this, guys. If Florida beats Alabama, right? Okay, Alabama's not going to be out of the college football playoffs. They're not. They might be 4, right? So, like I said, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, they could be in the outside looking in because if Florida wins and beat Alabama, they could sneak into that top 4 position. Because I don't think the college football playoff system is going to be like, okay, let's go ahead and put Iowa up there, or let's go ahead and put Texas A&M up there. They're not going to do that. They are not going to do that. They're going to find a way to get Florida in there because they beat the number 1 team, Alabama, and they're going to put Alabama maybe 4th. So it could be Ohio. It could be Clemson 1, Ohio State 2. Who do I say was going to be up there? It could be Clemson. It could be Clemson 1, Ohio State 2, maybe Notre Dame 3, and Florida 4. Because they're not going to get. It could be, yeah. I could say Notre Dame could be 3rd and Florida 4th if they beat Alabama. Now, if Florida doesn't win, of course, they're not going to do anything. And of course, they're just going to shuffle the top 4. They're just going to put Clemson 1, Notre Dame, Ohio State 2, Notre Dame 3, and Notre Dame 4. No, excuse me. Clemson 1, Ohio State 2, Notre Dame 3. Alabama 1 if they win. I'm going crazy. Alabama's going to be number 1. Clemson number 2, Notre Dame 3, and 4 will be Notre Dame. 4 will be Notre Dame. So, we've seen it in the past. They've done this before. So, when you're a top team and you lose to another top team, you really don't fall too far. You don't fall too far outside the college football rankings. So, it's going to be hard for them not to see that this is going to be the top 4 teams already. So Florida has to win against Alabama if they have any shot. Iowa State needs to win big, and Texas A&M, it's going to be hard because they're playing Tennessee, and Tennessee is really no good. So it's going to be hard for Texas A&M for real. So that's basically going to be the end of the NCAA college football talk. And so I'm going to go ahead and take a break before we get into our NFL talk. So we are going to go ahead and look at the Monday night game. Actually, the Monday night game from this week, the Browns versus the Ravens. I think this was one of the top football games of this whole season. Last Monday night, this was a big game for both Cleveland and Cleveland and Baltimore. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about that game after the highlights. So I will see you guys back soon. I hope you enjoy the highlights.
So it is 1st and goal now. On the ground, here's Nick Chubb, breaks a tackle and breaks the plane into the end zone. Strong opening drive by the Cleveland Browns. Ricard in the slot too. 3rd and 3. Keeper, Lamar Jackson, touchdown from the Cleveland 11 on 1st and 10. It is the back, Edwards, turns the corner, lowers the shoulder, and got there. Touchdown, Ravens. Second and 2. It is Chubb right through the middle. Touchdown, Browns. Thrilled to have him back after missing the last 2 games, thigh injury, and on the COVID-19 reserve list. Jackson takes off. So much green in front of him for the Lamar Jackson touchdown. There is a penalty marker down.
It's going to be a touchdown. They're going to get to the Browns secondary with a hold.
And they're selling a lot of those white sneakers right now everywhere. Here's Gus Edwards. Edwards will prance into the end zone. Touchdown. The running game. Motion Landry in the backfield. They do give it to the back. Kareem Hunt. Touchdown. What was a very important drive for the Browns to answer back. And James in Tampa. Worst starting field position of the game for the Browns, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Tyus Bowser, and he's going for 2 here. Oh, I beg your pardon. Just short of the marker. And they'll go for 6 here. And the touchdown for J.K. Dobbins. And that makes it 34-20 in favor of Baltimore. Ravens bringing the heat. Mayfield able to get out of there and throw, and it is caught. Touchdown, Rashard Higgins. Here's Baker. Mayfield will throw for it, and it is deflected and caught.
Telling the line to go all the way out to the right.
Mayfield trying to escape. Turns the corner, running away from Wolf. Touchdown! And he slides home. Baker Mayfield for the score. Trailing by a point. Jackson trying to throw for it, and he's got it. Marquise Brown hangs on to the football and scores. How do you like that? Minute 51 to go. It is done.
He's right in his zone right now. No reason to force the ball downfield. Keep taking it.
It's Hunt again. Makes a move. First down. Hit a 55-yarder earlier this season. For the win. And Justin Tucker has done it for Baltimore. There are 2 seconds left on the clock.
All right, we are back, and that was the Monday Night Football game this week between the Ravens and the Browns. And so we want to go ahead and start from that game, and I have a comment. Did you cover the Raiders game? They broke my heart last night. I'll get to it. I'll definitely get to it because we know. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. So the NFL week 14 and 15. So I want to go ahead and start off with the Ravens and the Browns game. And that was a big game for both teams, being that the Ravens were on the outside looking in, and they still are, but that was a game that they needed to win, because if they would have lost that game, that would have hurt their chances in the AFC playoff picture. So the Baltimore Ravens, they needed that game. For the Browns, that was a big game because they were still in the divisional hunt. They were still trying to get the divisional crown. This would have helped them if they would have won this game and got some help from other teams against the Steelers, because they have been playing a little bit bad the last couple of weeks. So they was looking for to win the division. They're pretty much a lock for the wild card. But you want to look bigger for if you're a football team. So for the Ravens, they needed this game. They needed it bad because the Raiders were above them in the AFC playoff picture, and they did lose their game against the Colts that week. So they needed this game, and they delivered. They delivered big time. This is the game of the year. Lamar Jackson was cramping throughout the whole game, came back, and in the highlight you saw a big play on fourth down to Hollywood Brown. They needed that game very badly. So now in the AFC playoff picture, they're right there. They're still behind Miami. They're on the outside looking in, but they're both 8-5. So the Ravens need a big time game. They need the Dolphins to lose somewhere between now and the season end. But the Ravens have a lucky schedule. They play some of the worst teams in the NFL coming up the next couple of weeks. They play the Giants, they play Jacksonville, and I think they play Cincinnati. Those are really bad teams. So they have a good chance. And for the Browns, it's going to be tough for them to win a division. The Steelers win their game this week against the Bengals, who's not a good team at all. They're basically a lot for the AFC North. So that was a big game for them. So we're going to go ahead and move on into the next game, which was a big one, which was for the Cardinals, because they blew out the Jets. Not the Jets, but the Giants. And they're in the wild card position. And it's going to be fun to see Arizona in the wild card, because, they haven't been a great team for a while. This year has been a lot different. Kyler Murray looks like a great quarterback this year. Hopkins was a great piece. Larry Fitzgerald is still the man, even after all this time. So it's fun to see the Cardinals when they're good. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very fun to see the Cardinals when they're good. So it's exciting times. They're holding down the 7th seed with a 7-6 record. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see the Cardinals. Hopefully they do make the playoffs and excuse me. And really make noise in the playoffs. I hope they do. It's going to be fun to see them in the playoffs. So let's continue on to the next game. And Zach, I know you was waiting for it, man. So the Las Vegas Raiders, who was in the playoff hunt, they really shot themselves in the foot. They controlled their own destiny. Let's take a step back. So they lost to the Indianapolis Colts, 44-27. It was a kind of a competitive game up until the fourth quarter, and they started giving up points just left and right. It was really bad. And this year, this week, last night, they played the Los Angeles Chargers, a divisional game. It came right down to the wire. It came down right down to the wire. The Raiders had a chance to win the game at the end of overtime. Unfortunately, they did not do too well in the red zone trying to score, and they really didn't have a great game as far as the offensive linemen all game. They seemed to get bullied a little bit against the defensive line pass rush of the Los Angeles Chargers, and they couldn't pick up easy 3rd and 1 yardage. So that really hurt them, and it really hurt them that they didn't score in the red zone. Yeah, I know, man. That they didn't score in the red zone, especially to win the game. And when you have Josh Jacobs, a beast of a running back like he is, and they just couldn't get him going in the red zone, especially in overtime, it's hard. And let's take a look back. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, but the Raiders defense is some of the worst things I've seen ever in life. I don't know what to tell you. I think between them and the Cowboys, those two has like the worst defenses ever. Like, it's really bad. And unfortunately, when you can't win a game, when you score 27 points, it's with your backup quarterback. We didn't even get into that. Derek Carr, unfortunately, had a groin injury trying to scramble in the red zone, which was very bad. Marcus Mariota came in and he was pleased. I was pleased as well. I truly can say that he came in, he controlled the offense. It looked a lot different. It looked very different watching Marcus Mariota play because he's a guy that can run with the football. He could throw on the run very accurately. He played a great game. It was one bad pass at the end of the game that really hurt them. I think it was more of a John Gruden issue because they could have ran out the ball, kicked the field goal, and hoped to God that horrible defense could have had at least one stop in them, right? But it was one bad pass. I mean, it really didn't matter because the kicker Bagley for the Los Angeles Chargers missed the field goal. But when that defense is so bad, and they gave up a long pass to set up a touchdown to win the game for the Los Angeles Chargers, when you have a bad defense like that, it is hard to win games. I'm just going to be honest with you. So the Raiders are still in the playoff hunt, but it's going to take like a miracle and a half for them to even make the playoffs this year with their 7-7 record, because Miami's 8-5, Baltimore's 8-5. They need a lot of luck. So let's go ahead and we're going to wrap up, and we're going to go ahead with the playoff pictures. So the Chiefs and the Steelers, they're already in. The Chiefs are the number one team with the 12-1 record. The Steelers has an 11-2 record. Then in the hunt is the Buffalo Bills with the 10-3 record. The Tennessee Titans with a 9-4 record. And then we have the wild card. Those are the divisional front runners right now. They have the wild card with 9-4 record. It's the Browns with the first wild card spot. Second wild card spot is the Indianapolis Colts with a 9-4 record. And the Dolphins with a 8-5 record. And on the bubble is Baltimore Ravens, who had a big win. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Patriots and the Broncos, who's basically – it's going to be tough for all them three teams to make it. And on the NFC side, the Packers and the Saints are already in. The Packers is first with a 10-3 record, and the Saints has a 10-3 record as well. So they're tied. Then we have the Los Angeles Rams, who with the 9-4 records, leading their division, and the Washington football team is leading their division with a 6-7 record. That whole division is horrible. And then we have the Seattle Seahawks, who has the first wild card spot with the 9-4 record. The Tampa Bay Bucks with an 8-5 record, second wild card spot. And the Arizona Cardinals with a 7-6 record has the last wild card spot. And outside looking is the Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers, and then the bad division with the Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, and Carolina Panthers. So that's going to wrap up the show for me. I appreciate everybody who came to the show each and every week. And thank you for everybody who commented, who came to just hang out. It was fun. It was very fun. So next week I'm not going to have a show. It's Christmas. So I hope everybody has a nice holiday. I hope everybody enjoys, being with your family and just have a good time with each other. I know I'm definitely going to have a good time with my family, so it's going to be very fun. And so I will be back. Hopefully next week we're going to see how it works. I will definitely let you know. If you guys do follow me on social media, I would definitely let you know if I'm going to stream Definitely not next week, but the next week after that. So I will definitely let you guys know, and we'll go from there. So on Twitch, if you guys are on Twitch, I'm going to host you to Nice. She is currently playing Call of Duty, I believe. She's playing Call of Duty Black Ops. I hope you guys say hello from me. And also, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I appreciate you, Zach. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you. I'll definitely see you next time. Okay, so you guys have a good Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.